All right, we back. We back. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of a Champ podcast, episode number 46. Oh, I'm mistaken. Yeah, 46. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about, we're going to have a Q&A. We're just going to have a Q&A. That's all it is. No hype, no nothing like that. We're just having a Q&A. Just pretty much just chatting, having a Q&A. There's going to be some questions that I'm going to answer on here that have not been asked on the podcast that I feel like are essential to not only for people taking advice, but also essential for getting to know me a little bit more and things of that sort. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and cover on today's podcast. Appreciate everyone who's in the chat. KJ, of course, um, you know, holding it down as usual. GDP as well. Come on now, you already know what time it is. You already know what time it is, right? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get into it. All right, so I had a few things. So I'll just go off the first thing, right? All right, I have a few things to say before that's right. All right, I have a podcast. It's called Life Champ Podcast. I'm going to be going. I'm going to be posting. I want to say about 2 or 3 times a day for the next few days. So if you do want to go ahead and tap in with that, like I said, just Life of Champ podcast. Make sure you go check it up on that TikTok. I also post shorts on YouTube as well. So make sure you go ahead and watch those. Leave a like on those as well. And on top of that, what was the other thing? Yeah, I may have some changes coming to the podcast. I still need to talk to a few people to get their opinions, but I might have a few changes coming to this channel in general. So, um, it's something that I'm thinking about, and I will discuss it. I will discuss probably later this podcast with you guys just to get you guys' opinion on it as well. But yeah, we might have some changes coming, but we're also going to have some more improvements and different adjustments that we might make. It's just surrounding the content that I make and yeah, the audience that I'm trying to attract, which is basically just like-minded individuals, anyways. But give me one second. All right. So the first thing that I'm gonna go over was a Q&A. Somebody asked me what are my thoughts on the Brittney Griner situation. She's been, I want to say she was, I don't know the word, convicted of a charge that was for I want to say having a wax pen or something like that. I think she's getting 9 years, 9.5 years in prison or something like that. Obviously, she's in Russia, if I'm not mistaken. She's in Russia, so obviously that's a no-no. First, she probably shouldn't have been doing that anyways. If I'm gonna be honest with you, that's what I will say. Um, Obviously, it's an American who it has a lot of status within the world, within the United States, right? And I do believe that those certain characters should be brought back to the United States as soon as they possibly can. But I do know, unfortunately, she has been brought back. I think she hasn't been back in like 100 something days, maybe like 130 days or something like that. I'm not too sure. I keep up here and there with this situation because it's just, I don't know. It's not what I would deem to be the most entertaining thing to keep up with. So, since I had somebody talk about this or ask about this, I'll give you my opinion. Like I said, she probably shouldn't have been doing that. I want to say WNBA players make more money overseas than they do in the WNBA, if I'm not mistaken, which is I think ridiculous. But it is what it is. She is a Phoenix Mercury player, so it's in my same state, but I never even went to a game or anything like that. I've known of her for a while now. Obviously, know that she dunks. She's like one of the only people that dunks in the WNBA. But yeah, go ahead and bring her back. Make a trade. Do whatever you got to do. The president should already have been had her back. I don't know what the hell the holdup is, or if it's leverage, or if it's another political piece. I don't know what it is, but quite frankly, I do believe that if they could have brought her back, they probably would have already done it. So it might be a little chess piece in the mix. But other than that, of course, you have everybody's support. Everybody's like, "Hey, bring her back." This and this and this. Which, like I said, I understand. But if she didn't do anything wrong, she wouldn't be there. That's what I will say. Or wrong. Like here's the thing: if you're going to be a person of status like that, you understand what you can and can't do, and you understand what is necessary and what is not necessary. So that is, it's. it's just not my cup of tea. As far as it's not a move that I would have made if I were her, even with all the money, even without the status, all that. No, I wouldn't do that. We got one person in here. Appreciate you stopping by. Make sure you go ahead and leave a comment, just like he's in here today on today's podcast. We're going. It's basically just a Q&A. So we're kind of just going over what the people had sent me in. So I'm gonna go over some of those right now. All right. Anything else? Let me see. I have a few questions or scenarios that I'm gonna go over, just so I can be spitting some game, giving some people some advice. All right. The first one that I'm gonna go ahead and start with. Hold on, let me go to the better one. Another quick question to the podcast is how to properly talk to women in person. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you some game on this, right? When it comes to talking to women in person, okay, when it comes to talking to women in general as a man, it's just all you're doing is playing a numbers game, anyways. So, same with talking to a woman in person. All it is a numbers game. There's going to be plenty of women that don't think you're attractive. There's going to be plenty of women that think you're attractive, and now you will see more people that are attracted to you if you approach more people. So, it is just a numbers game. How to properly do it, make an excuse to go talk to them. Uh, I would say, I would say be upfront. Don't play no games. Don't do no cheesy pickup lines. Just go up there, genuine. Be genuine yourself. And if you don't have the confidence to be yourself, um, yeah, there's just some work that you need to put in, man. That's all what it comes down to. There's just some other work that you need to be able to put in, and once you put in that work, hopefully it'll give you the confidence to go ahead and do it. But it is just a numbers game. It is something that is a skill. You see plenty of men that are really really good with talking to women or going up to them and greeting them, whatever. And that is a skill. That is something that they acquired over time. That is something that they practiced. So if you're trying to get good on any type of level, you're going to have to go ahead and put yourself out there. Um, be prepared to fail. Be prepared to succeed as well. And whatever your definition of succeeding is, then be prepared to succeed. But you can't be turned off by rejection, because rejection is just a part of the game. So it's as simple as that. So that is probably my best advice that I could possibly give when it comes to how to properly talk to women. But once you already, here's the thing, it's kind of a game at the end of the day, right? I guess you can. I know some guys will say like, oh yeah, you have game, like things like that, right? It's kind of like a game, right? So there's game to approach that woman in person or whatever it is, right? Talk to women, whatever. It's another game to have consistent conversations with a woman. That right there is a completely different thing. So if anyone has questions regarding that, make sure to leave in the comments. But that is its own separate piece of game, which I can go over of how to approach things, or like kind of the certain vibe to be on in order to put yourself in a more favorable position when it comes to being in a conversation with a woman. But yeah, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go back to reading another one. We got two people in here. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. Make sure you go and leave a comment just so I can see who's in here. Like I said, Q&A. If you have any questions, make sure you go and leave it down in the comments. On today's podcast, we're just, like I said, we're just chopping it up, man. That's pretty much about it. Um, if you have any questions or if you have anything you want to know about me, make sure you go and leave in the comments. All right, I'm gonna go over another thing that somebody had asked. But yeah, that was just my previous answer to how to talk to women properly in person. Um, all right, this is another one. He's had another question: is how can I sharpen my mind to become smarter rather than putting negative energy in the mind? So when it comes to that question right there, I think you have to kind of break it up, right? How do you sharpen the mind to become more smarter rather than putting negative energy in the mind? Okay. So when it comes to that one, I'm trying to intake it all, right? I'm trying to intake it all. What I will say is, really, really pay attention to what you're paying attention to, right? And I don't think the smartest people in the world. Nah, it's neither. It's just my lips, man. They just like that, bro. Simple, simple. Uh, but it is what it is, man. Come on now. I should have just like that, bro. What do you want to say? What do you want to say? Um, but yeah, but going back to what I was saying, right? I don't even think the smartest people in the world have the most money, right? They just know how to play the game the best. And I don't think you particularly have to be great at the game. You don't have to be the like I said, you don't have to be the smartest person, right? I would never claim to be the smartest person. But even with the smartest people, there's still people willing to put in more work than that person. They have more self discipline than a person who is smart. There's a lot of things you can be smart at, but if you don't have the drive, then it's pretty much it's meaningless. It's short lived, if you will, right? Short lived. That's the way I would describe it best. But um, yeah, your best bet is to just learn what you know, learn what you need to learn, learn the basics. It's not hard to learn the basics of life. The different areas and different endeavors that are worth pursuing in this life. It's not hard to figure those out. There's probably a few fundamental ones, maybe like five or six, that if you just get those down, if you get those down and you go far within those and you spend 20 years on those, you're going to be in much better position than majority of people, because majority of people don't focus on that many things and get good at that many things in life at all. Think about that, right? So some of these things, for example, are going to be, getting your fitness, getting your body. Because obviously, I'm going to use this cliche ass saying, health is wealth. Um, and I definitely agree. I heard somebody say, there's billionaires that would give up all they have just to live a young life again, right? So that is priceless. So if you're young watching this, that is priceless. There's people that would pay a lot of money just to be in the position that you're in right now, but you're going ahead and living that experience, right? But at the end of the day, there's certain things, like I said, also with health. You have, working on your body, making sure it looks the best and can look the best and can be used longer than people who do not use their body. If you see the people that are breaking down in their later years in life, it's because they are not consistently using your body. And if you don't consistently use your body, you start to lose all the muscle, all all the definition, all of the hard work that could have been put in. You lose the little bit that you never put in. If that makes any sense, right? You start to lose it, and that's it's obviously not the most ideal circumstance in life. So, like I said, if you just master that, if you master the mental, getting over the mental hurdles that come with life in general, right? The doubt, self doubt, um, laziness. If you're able to overcome these things and consistently work on them for over 20 years, you're going to be in a much better position than majority of people who let that be their vice, right? Another thing I would say, a physical, mental, spiritual, getting in touch with your spiritual self is one of the things. Like I said, if you spend 20 years on, you're going to be in a much better position. You're going to be in a you're going to be the calmest. You're going to have the calmest energy in the room, and to be able to have the calmest energy in the room is one of the things that is probably most admirable about certain people. How they're just calm in situations, and maybe even in situations that not everyone's calm in. They're able to have this composure that is definitely only built, and not and definitely something only earned and not given, when it comes down to it. So those are just a few um, endeavors in life that, if worth pursuing, is going to put you in a much better position in general. So that's what I would say. Give me 1 second. Going back to another question. Like I said, if you have any questions in here, we got 4 people in here right now. We had 5 earlier. If you're in here and you have any questions you want me to go ahead and answer regarding anything, or you just want to give my viewpoint on something, make sure to go and leave in the comments as well. All right. All right. Another question I got was, how do I stay disciplined every day while waking up early, even when you are bored? Okay, hold up. Yeah, trying to get more discipline. Now, okay. So obviously, if you're bored, you're not distracting yourself, and there could be good distractions. That's what I will say. Dumb question. Dumb question, my G. I posted on my IG the other day, man. It's what is it? Oh shit. It's this one right here. No doubt. No doubt, man. No doubt. No questions asked. No debate. Nothing. No, I don't want to hear any of it. I don't want to hear any of it. Take care. Second best. If you don't have those as your top two, I do not want to hear your opinion. Your opinion is relevant. Simple. Going back to what I was saying, right? How do you stay self-disciplined? So this is something that I'm learning right now. So I can speak on self-discipline when compared to the average person. I've had spurts of life where I was in a different type of mode, in a are functioning at my highest frequency, right? I've had a few of those moments, and obviously those moments are not something I'm able to 100% maintain all the time, but I've hit those moments before. And like I said, that's a lot more than majority of people could say. So with that being said, right? It's just finding your flow state. Yeah, yeah, he definitely had a lot of bangers in that one. I don't have that record yet, which I should have because it just looks dope. Uh, but self-discipline, right? Going back to what I was saying. It's You're gonna have to try to get into your flow state. It's A lot of things have to line up. A lot of things have to line up in order to stay self-disciplined, right? Like I said, you need to get rid of the distractions. The distractions are going to hold you back probably the most out of anything, and the only way to overcome distractions for the most part is going to be things that you impulsively do. What do you impulsively do? You go on your phone impulsively. Everyone does it for the most part. So you need to remove that. If you are serious about trying to be disciplined, right? The one thing you must do is to just forget your phone, like literally forget your phone. And the way I do this when I'm in my flow state the best is I start my day without having my phone. I don't go on my phone for the first few hours, and it's because I have to let the thoughts come to me, right? And what's another interesting thing is letting, like I said, just letting your thoughts come to you. That is something that not a lot of people do. They go on their phone and they let you know the algorithms of the social medias dictate what they're thinking about and what thoughts they have in that day. And I'm a big advocate for, like I said, letting your mind come to letting your mind wake up by itself and letting thoughts come naturally instead of having somebody like pretty much create my own reality by telling me, hey, you should think these things, or hey, look at this shiny thing on Instagram, right? Um, be in control of that. And one thing I'd also recommend is making sure you know what you're focusing on the right things when you first wake up. So for me, I have a list of why I even got up in the morning in the first place. What are things that I need to do? What are ways that I want to be? What are things that I'm trying to achieve? All these things allow you to start your day with the right focus because not a lot of people do that at all, ever, sadly. But yeah, self discipline is one of those tricky things that um, not many people have at all. In society, I would say, dude, maybe like 0.5% of people have it, really. And there's little things you can have self discipline to go to work. Yeah, and clap it up for you. Not really. Here's the thing. There's certain things that you just need to do, and there's certain things that like take serious self discipline. And if you can get to the point where the things that you're trying to discipline yourself become you know the baseline. The Oh yeah, it's like I said, it's just your job, right? I don't I don't clap anyone up for doing their job. Like you're doing your job. Congrats. Like okay, so like that's it. But if you're able to do something beyond that, if you're able to, like I said, be more than just that, or do more than just that, then I'm gonna go ahead and give you the round of applause that you deserve, right? You're doing more than just the what's required, right? And yeah, those people right there get the farthest in life, right? Like for example, right, the self discipline to get in the gym and stay in the gym and constantly keep going. I applaud anyone who can do that because it's something that not a lot of people can do, and obviously you see it play out in society, right? There's majority of people are obese, so it's as simple as that, right? It's as simple as that. Obviously a lot of people are lacking self discipline, and it's something that I would. It's a sin. It's a sin, right? If you're giving into your impulses, you're letting something. You're letting life dictate where you're going. And if you're anybody who's serious about where they're going in life, you should not let the world dictate where you're going or tell you should go this way. It's got to be a really conscious journey to stay on the path that you know you need to be on. That's what I will say. Self discipline also, when you fall down, you got to pick yourself back up every single time. You got to be willing to get up every single time. and never shift your mindset of you got to keep going, right? As soon as you start to pull back that mindset of like, oh, it's okay to stop. Like it's okay. Like I'm good. Like once you start getting comfortable with that mindset and putting that constantly in your mind, yeah, you're falling off. You're really falling off. There's a difference between I would say falling off and falling off, right? There's a difference. You just gotta understand the difference, right? It's okay to fall off sometimes, because you're gonna get back up. But if you fall off though, hey, hey, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you at that fucking point. So make sure on your shit. Make sure on your shit. Camera just texted me. Okay. Shout out to Cameron. We had him on the podcast a few times. Give me 1 second. But yeah, that's the way I would answer self-discipline. Get rid of distractions. Focus on what you need to focus on, and do not spread your attention too thin as well, because, like I said, majority of people spread their attention too thin, and then they can't even focus the majority of their energy towards something that is actually worth meaning, because they're giving it away too easily. They're distributing it in many different areas, and instead of just focusing on one thing and making one thing solid, they're trying to make, 80 things solid. And even they're doing it unconsciously as well, right? Your brain's trying to comprehend all these things, all these stimulus, all this stimulus at one point in time, right? But if you're not focusing all on what you should be focusing on, obviously you're going to be behind. So, yeah, that's obviously not no bueno, no bueno. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go back to my questions. Like I said, also, let's see, hold up. Yeah, if you have any questions, make sure you leave it down in the comments. If you have a few people watching, so yeah. One thing I'm gonna also answer. Let me see if you can get to that point yet. Hold up. Hold on. He said, yeah, and if you're bored, you just need. If you're really bored, here's the thing. If you're bored in today's society, I do not know what the fuck you're actually doing, bro. Like you are lost in the sauce. If you're bored today, there's so many things you could be doing. You should never be bored nowadays. And here's the thing. I wish I could be bored. You have to literally just be lazy if you're bored, because I'm never bored. And here's the thing. If you have a phone, like you should never be bored realistically. That's the point of the phone. It does everything. It does everything damn near. So you shouldn't realistically be bored. But if you're bored, at least you're not distracted. So yeah, that's what I will say. Give me 1 second. He said, and whenever I'm doing something productive, it makes me forget about women. Honestly, well, that's good. Yeah, but okay. So here's what I will say. I'm gonna give you a new perspective. I'm gonna give you a new perspective. Not many people have this perspective. I'm gonna go and give you a new one. It's something that I recently acquired, probably like, let's just say, in the last 3 months. All right. So if you're a man watching this, you probably focus a lot on women, right? Now, right now I'm in my run of celibacy. Um, or what is it? What is it now? A few months now. What is it, like? Almost 5 months now. Within my run of celibacy, one thing that I learned is you need to, when you have a thought, right? You can consciously either put the energy into the thought, or you can consciously divert that energy into something that is worth more meaning in the current moment, right? So one of the things that I learned is when you start having thoughts about, let's just say, women, right? Like the majority of people watching this are probably going to be men. So if you let's just say you tend to see your thoughts go in one area towards, a certain woman, or maybe it's a person that you see in public, right? A woman, whatever, right? You have two ways. You have a few things you can do, right? You can either act on it and go ahead and say, "Hey, what's up?" Like, go ahead and talk to them, right? Which majority of people don't do. Majority of men are not brave enough to do that, or they have no reason to. Whatever the case is, right? You can do that. You can, just keep it to yourself, and just daydream about something with that person or whatever, right? Or you could divert the energy back into yourself. Recognize that seeing that or having those thoughts gives you a certain type of energy, gives you a certain type of feeling, and now you breathe in and you do some shit that's actually worth something that's actually going to benefit you, right? Using the energy that a woman gives you is one of the most powerful things that you can do as a man if you're disciplined, right? Not many people talk about this. I read about it in this book called The Way of a Superior Man. If there's any men watching, like I said, I recommend that book. It's a very, very short book. It's only 5 or 6 hours long on the audiobook, which is not long at all. I've read books that are like 20 something hours on audiobook. But like, it's only 5 or 6 hours. If you realistically sit down and listen to the audiobook, it take you like, shit, maybe like a week. It's not even that bad. Um, Definitely a book worth, like I said, worth recommending for damn sure. I don't physically have a copy of it yet. I'm probably going to get it this week. But yeah, definitely recommend that. Use the energy that they give you in a productive manner, in a productive endeavor. Because if you don't, then you're gonna be lost in the sauce, daydreaming about some shit that's not gonna happen. So yeah, that's my advice right there. That's my advice. Another question that I'll answer, which I'm surprised nobody has asked because this question is wow. It's a question that like I said, it just doesn't get asked. And if you're a person named Champ, right? If you're watching this, you're not, right? The fact that I don't get this question that often is pretty insane, I would say. One of the questions that are yeah, one of the questions I don't get asked very often is how did I get my name? Right? Like most people don't have a story of how they got their name. Fair, right? But there's some people in this world that have meaning and have a story behind their name. And especially of a name like, Champ, right? It's not your typical name. It's pretty unique, I would say. I don't get that question asked very often. So I'll go ahead and give you the answer, fellas, because there is a story behind it, right? So to go ahead and tell you the story, we have to take you back to 2001, right? In 2001, there was a World Series, right? The Diamondbacks were playing in the World Series. If I'm not mistaken, it was their first time in the World Series. Um, and my parents actually got tickets to go to Game 7 of the World Series. And if you know anything about sports and Game 7s, hey, that is the best few words that you could say. Game 7 right there. Best two words you can say in sports. Is that it is the deciding factor on if a team wins or if a team loses at the highest level, right? So my parents got tickets, and in the midst of the game, while my mom was pregnant with me at that time, my dad, great genius man for this, the best decision, the best bet he ever made in his entire life. He suggested to my mom that if the Diamondbacks were to win, that I be named Champ because they hadn't thought about a name so far, right? If the Diamondbacks won, then my name would be Champ, and if they lost, then my mom would have the reins to go ahead and choose whatever name that she would so desire, right? And as you know, the Diamondbacks won, and the rest is history, fellas. The rest is history. So that is the story of how I got my name. Like I said, it's not a question that is surprisingly to me is not asked very often. But if you did want to know, there is a story right there. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the first time I talked about it on this channel, which is I just think it's crazy, anyways. But yeah, so there you go. There's a story right there, fellas. If you have any more questions, make sure you go ahead and leave it down in the comments. Probably go on for a few more minutes, and then we'll go ahead and end it off here. So. Like I said, if you have any last second questions, make sure you go and leave it in the comments. Also, like I said, make sure you go ahead and follow me on TikTok. And also go ahead and like the YouTube shorts as well, because we need those to get into the algorithm. You know, shout out to mom. Shout out to mom. Shout out to mom. True G. Top G. Top G mom right there for that. Give me 1 second, fellas. I'm gonna go ahead and find another question because I think I had one more. All right, give me 1 second. Like I said, if you also have some, make sure you go ahead and leave it down as well. All right. I didn't answer a question fully, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you the full answer whenever. How do I sharpen the mind to become more smarter rather than putting negative energy in the mind? So, like I said, when you're putting okay, first of all, if you're putting negative energy in your mind at all, right, you have a fundamental flaw. You have a flaw of the inputs that you give yourself, and that is not something that you should take very very lightly. This might need some adjustments. This might need removal of some environmental circumstances, right? And with that being said, like I said, sacrifice is probably going to need to be made. So what is it going to look like, right? What are things that you need to sacrifice? What music are you gonna have to try to switch to? And yes, it does get that deep. Even if you enjoy music that is actual like depressing music, right? If if listening to music that's going to suit you best is going to be more positive and happy music, you're going to need to go ahead and make that adjustment, right? It's not worth your mood is not worth your energy is not worth getting wasted because you're listening to some music that is not promoting the best message that it possibly could. And of course, there's the time and the place, right? Which I even then I don't understand in itself, right? I see people who are down bad listening to music that's down bad music, and I'm like, it's like you're contributing to a negative counter loop, right? You start doing one thing that's a negative, and that negative thing turns into more things that are negative, and then you're like I said, you're in a downward negative counter loop. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is, right? You have a fundamental flaw, fix the fundamental flaw, and after you fix the fundamental flaw is the only way that you're going to be able to get to a place of where you can only allow the positive inputs, right? The healthiest minded people are going to be the ones who have a different mindset than what the society is telling you, right? You think the most mentally healthy people are the ones who go to therapy, or the ones who never even think about going to therapy? There's some people that exist, and maybe they're naive, but there's some people that exist that would never even think about going there because they don't need it. They don't need it, right? And those people are going to be in a lot better in a very very well positioned place than when compared to somebody who goes. It's just as simple as that. Of course, some people need it. And if you need it, go ahead and get it. But if you don't need it, if you truly don't need it, like actually truly don't need it, then no, obviously then you don't need it. But yeah, that's what I will say. That's what I will say. Don't let the negative in your mind, fellas. Don't let the negative in your mind. That's like rule number one. Avoid negative at all costs. Rule number one of life, almost. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So we got two people in here. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Like I said, make sure to leave a comment just like to see who's in here. Any more questions that you have for me? Right. There's a lot of game and there's a lot of questions to be answered. I'm a person who, interestingly enough, right, I don't get asked that many questions, right? I'm doing a podcast. I usually ask the questions, right? But there's very, very rare times, and if I'm not mistaken, the last person to ask me a question was Bree. I think so. She's like, I actually have a question for you, if I'm not mistaken. You're a goofball. You're a goofball, my guy. You're a goofball. That's all I'm gonna say. Goofball. Bro, here's the thing. Why are you looking at my lips? That's a real fucking question. Why are you looking at my lips, man? Pay attention to something else. Pay attention to the game that I'm spitting, not my damn lips, man. I might have to, man. If KJ was in here commenting, man, I'm about to get your ass up out of here, son. Get him out of here. No, it's wrong. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. But I can do that. He'll put you in a fucking timeout. Timeout. But shout out to KJ. Shout out to KJ. If you in here right now, listen to this. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. We got 3 people in here. Make sure you go and leave a comments. If you have any questions for me, I'm gonna go ahead and go over my answers for the questions that were asked. Please, no KJ. Exactly. You better beg the mercy to KJ for that shit. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and give you. I'll run it back one more time. Just the questions that were asked. Right. The first one was Brittney Griner. Where do I stand within any of that? Right. If I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't. I'm gonna say this, and like I say, you can call it what you want. Right. I don't really put my energy into that too much. Right. I would say I don't care, but I just don't care. Really, I really don't. It doesn't affect me whether she's here or whether she's not here. So it's like, would it be cool if she was back? Yeah. Hell yeah. It'd be dope if she was back, right? But like, If she's there or if she's not there, my life's literally gonna stay the same. And that's another thing with news, right? Right. If there's things that are things if there's things that happen or don't happen in the news, is it gonna change your life? If you're not focused your energy on it, is it really gonna change your life? Probably not. And like I said, you got a lot of people watching some nonsense shit that have nothing to do with their life at all. For what? You're like, for what? Like you're literally wasting energy, aren't you? You're diverting your energy in an endeavor that doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Like my opinion's irrelevant, right? Do I think she should be back? Hell yeah, it's been way too damn long. Do I think the US should have stepped in and tried to make a trade? Yeah. Hell yeah. But, it is what it is, you can't really control everything and also he probably shouldn't be doing some questionable actions when it comes to going into a country such as Russia. Probably shouldn't be doing questionable actions that can maybe even give you the slightest inclination of, maybe should I do that, or maybe I should suggest not doing that, right? And then maybe you wouldn't be in the position you're in, right? But yeah, that's the only thing I want to say, right? I agree with you. I agree with you to an extent, right? There's certain things like if you're selling it to a minor, you need to go to jail, OG. You need to go to jail, man. Like a 15-year-old kid, you got to jail, right? Simple. But yeah, I would say no. I wouldn't say no one, no one. I don't know about that. There's extremes, of course, but I understand. Here's the thing: it's in another country. Look down on Russia. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Can't control it, right? I can't control it, man. I only focus on things that I can control rather than opposed to things that I cannot control. That's something that I cannot control, so nothing I can do about it, right? I won't say looks before it looks down on Russia. Like I said, man, don't do any questionable shit in a hectic country like fucking Russia right now. Like what the fuck, dude? I wouldn't do that. It's just not a. It's just not the type of cards that I would play personally, right? I wouldn't play those cards. No, I wouldn't take the risk. There's a time and a place. There's a time and a place. If it's time to make money and play back in hoop in Russia, it's time to make money and hoop in Russia. But don't bring any distractions, right? Lock in. Lock in. Can't be taking chances for damn sure, right? All right. The next question was. Hold on, man. Give me a second. Let me get to it real quick. The next question is how to talk to women properly in person. My recommendation for that was first, find a reason to talk to them, right? You can't just go up to them and have no reason. And of course, even if you have no reason, you're going to need to get better at it. And obviously, you're going to suck at it at first. But in order to become the fool, you need to become the master. This is something that I talk about here and there. If you're going to suck at it at first, but it's okay because you'll get better at it eventually. For men and dating in general, it's just a numbers game. You're gonna encounter women that do not find you attractive. You're gonna encounter women that are gonna find you attractive. Obviously it's a numbers game. If you put in the work enough, you're going to find a woman that's gonna want you, right? But at the end of the day, you still need to be putting in the work as a man. If you're not putting in any work or you're putting in minimal work, big ass difference. Let me tell you. Let me go ahead and answer that, GDP, right? Being respectful. With being respectful, you need to have a high sense of self-respect, right? There's certain things and there's certain things you're going to be able to do, and there's certain things that you shouldn't do, right? There's and you can't be naive when it comes to having the self-respect, right? That's what people get wrong. That's where simps get it wrong, right? They do the most. They do the most in order to get something that isn't even going to be reciprocated. Simping simping is this. Is doing something that you know that the other person wouldn't do for you. In hopes that they will, when in reality that they won't. Right? So simps, right? So you talk about OnlyFans, right? In OnlyFans, there's gonna be simps that pay money to see that woman, right? Now, if the dudes made OnlyFans, would that woman pay for them? Fellas, fuck no. Fuck no. Exactly. So what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you giving a woman resources, your hard-earned resources, for almost nothing, for a picture on your phone, for a video on your phone, a little video like this big. You're paying hard-earned money for a little video this big, you're smoking crack. It's not even adding anything to your life, right? Simping is doing the most for a woman who wouldn't do that for you, right? Giving your time, attention, and resources or validation for nothing in return. And it also goes hand in hand with this. Even if you are getting something in return, if you're not getting exactly what you want in return, yet you're giving her exactly what she wants, you fucking lost. You lost. Being respectful is having self-respect, having a high sense of self-respect to the point where you know you're getting taken advantage of, and you avoid that. Exactly, OG. Exactly. Simple as that. It's as simple as that, man. It's as simple as that. But it is free. But here's the thing. Here's real ones. Real ones know that you ain't, even if it is free, you ain't indulging in it. Come on now. Get on game. Get on game now. Get on game. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. All right. Getting into the next question. Yeah, how to talk to women. Like I said, it's numbers game. Just play the numbers game, and eventually you'll come up. Like I said, another part was working on yourself. If you're not working on yourself, then you're not even doing anything anyways. Here's the thing. If you don't have, I'm gonna say this, right? If you don't have a few things going for you, if you don't have 3 or 4 things going for you that make you a better person, you should not be pursuing women. Simple as that. Cut and dry. If you're just working a job, that is not enough to be pursuing women. You need to be working a job. You need to make yourself a worthy man, right? I'm putting in the work right now, and here's the thing. If I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even see myself as a worthy man right now, and I might not for the rest of the year. Who knows? And I say that because I know the work needs to be put in for me to be in a position where I can have favorable circumstances within dating, right? The work needs to be put in for me. I could easily, waste time and try to get women that are going to be of low quality, or I could work on myself and only demand high quality women. That's what it comes down to. If you don't have 3 or 4 things going for you, you should not even be pursuing. You should not even be thinking about relationships. You should not even be thinking about women, kids, whatever it is. You shouldn't even be thinking about that. Get your life on track, because at the end of the day, she's gonna be riding the train she's gonna be riding the path that your train's going, anyways, right? So when it comes down to this, right? If she's riding the train anyways, you got to make sure that train's going somewhere, because if it's going nowhere, then she's gonna want to get the fuck off, anyways. Simple as that, fellas. Of course, I'm dropping gems as usual. Dropping gems like Young Thug. Hey, come on now. All right, give me 1 second, fellas. I'm gonna get to the next question. All right. Discipline. I'll go back on it again. Right. Self-discipline. Self-discipline is something that is earned. It is a mindset. It is a persistence. Right. It is something that it is a snowball effect. Right. Sometimes the snowball is rolling uphill, and sometimes it's rolling downhill. If it's rolling uphill, if your snowball's running uphill, you're not going anywhere. You're not getting any bigger, right? But if it's going downhill, then obviously you're making progress, right? Self-discipline is something that if you haven't been disciplining yourself, it's going to be harder to even take the baby steps. So most people just don't, right? Self-discipline is something that you need to take the small steps. You need to take the small wins, and you need to embrace the small wins, and you need to have the mindset that eventually that these are going to be bigger wins, right? You need to be actively, daily putting in the work that is going to best suit your life in the future, right? Self-discipline. So, for example, like let's just say you are struggling to go to the gym, right? Do you need to indulge within that feeling that you will have when you are an accomplished man? What does that What does that feel like? What will you feel like when you have done the things you wanted to do, right? What does that feel like? Internalize it. Internalize it and think about it and say, I want to feel like that. that's gonna make me feel more accomplished. That's going to make me feel more happy. That is where I realistically get my sense of value from. Here's the thing: if it's not something you put your sense of value in, then of course it's not going to be important to you. But if you derive some of your self worth from that, and it's something that takes self discipline and makes you a better person, then obviously it's something worth attaching to your identity, essentially, right? If people didn't have a positive ROI of working out, then they just wouldn't work out. If they didn't see themselves as a better person for doing it, then they just wouldn't do it, right? If they didn't see themselves as a more healthy person, they just wouldn't do it. Now, if you do see that, you have to do that. There's gonna be plenty of times, and this goes with anything in life. There's gonna be plenty of times it's gonna be uncomfortable, but you have to know what you're trying to do is get past that uncomfortable part. Most people, they get hit with a little resistance, and they're done. They're done. Take them out the damn oven. They're done. They're cooked, boy. They're cooked. But you gotta be one of those people that say, okay, I'm going into something that at this point in time is going to be a little bit difficult, right? I know that there's going to be resistance. I know there's going to be bad days. I know there's going to be things that feel like they're holding me back. But if I choose to get past those things, then the sky's the limit, right? If you can get past those things, you're going to be in a far better position than majority of people that exist. Like I said, you do that in a few different endeavors in life, and you're doing better than majority of people. It's not hard. It's not hard to be a 10% man in the top 10%. It's not hard. You just have to do, and I'm sure everyone watching this knows this. You just have to do what most people are not willing to do. Simple as that. It takes a lot more. It's as simple as that. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's as simple as that, and that's something that you need to take into account, right? It's as simple as that, but it's not easy. And anything worth pursuing in this life shouldn't be easy to get, right? Everything that you ever wanted was on the other side hard. So, hey, the work has to be put in. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, but you know, the work's not going to do itself. Nothing's given to you in this life if you're a man, right? You need to put the work in because, like I said, nobody else is going to do it for you. Maybe here's the thing. Maybe you get lucky and somebody does do it for you, but shit. But you better act like nobody's going to do it for you. But yeah, that's the way you develop your self discipline. And another thing with developing your self discipline, you have to come up with a why that is greater than yourself. You have to focus on things that are outside of yourself. For example, right? All right, me myself, right? Something that I focus on when it comes to something that I'm pursuing. If I'm slacking, if I'm having a bad day, whatever it is, right? If I still know that I should put in the work, where does your mind go? You can either go to distractions, you can divert the energy into something that doesn't even matter, or you can say, what am I doing this for? Am I doing this for my family? Maybe I'm doing it for my future kids. Maybe I'm doing it for the wife that I'm going to have one day, right? Maybe I'm doing it for whatever the hell it is, right? If you're able to focus and say, I'm doing this for a reason that is greater than myself. I'm doing it for my family. That's the ultimate reason right there. Doing it for my family. Being that person of character where you say, you know what, I'm not going to be the most motivated person every single day, but I'm going to do it for the cause that is always going to be greater than myself. If you're able to find that and use that as fuel, self-discipline is going to be something that, like I mentioned earlier as the example, is going to be the what the hell did I use? The snowball effect, right? This is a snowball downhill. Like I said, at first you got to get up the hill first, fellas. You got to get up the hill first, because, like I said, self discipline is something made. You need a lot of legwork, but if you get to it, you can eventually get that snowball going downhill, and you'll be in a much favorable position and going on in life. We have 5 people in here right now. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. Make sure to leave a comment if you're in here. If you're in here right now, and if you have any questions for me, today is the Q&A. Make sure and leave it down in the comments, and I'll go ahead and answer your question. Right now, I was just going over some questions that some people would ask me. So let me see if I can find any more. Give me 1 second. All right. And one of the things that I had answered was Brittney Griner and her situation. What were my thoughts on that? Hold on, let me check. Let me check to see if anybody else said anything. Fantastic. Shout out to Bree and GDP uh, for giving me some questions. Slacking. Oh my God, slacking. Big slack. It's okay though. Whatever though. Still love y'all, but slacking. Fine. I'm gonna give it about a few more minutes. So if you're in here right now, I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Like I had mentioned earlier, follow the TikTok. Make sure you like the shorts on YouTube as well. Follow my podcast Instagram on Life of a Champ Podcast. And one of the things I'm going to talk about right now. First, if you're in here, I need you to comment right now. I need you to comment right now just so I can see who I'm talking to. Right. I'm having this. What would I say? Tell me she didn't know she was carrying. That should be funny self. She. Oh, I didn't know. Get the fuck out of here. You know. Those. They don't lie now. Don't lie now. You know that. Goofy fellows, goofy. Um, but you should not. You should. Here's the thing. You can't consciously make a decision like that. I'm not gonna go back on this, but you can't consciously make a decision and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go in this country like with this shit. Like, no fucking way, dude. No fucking way. Down terrible. Let's just say you got dealt with a shit-handed cards, fellas. You basically. I wouldn't say dealt. You let yourself have that hand. Riding, yes sir. All right. Oh hell no. Hey, hey. What y'all gonna say? What y'all gonna say? Hey, down terrible. That's all I gotta say. Down terrible. All right. So we got a few people in here. One of the things I'm gonna be asking you guys is this question. This is something that I've came to the conclusion of, and I'm interested in doing it, but I want to know the input of some people that I care about. Right. So as of right now, I have 2 YouTube channels. I have the Evolve to Inspire YouTube channel, which is going to be my second channel, which is supposed to still be the main project. Is still the type of content that I want to be putting out. Obviously, I have a podcast as well, and this content's a little bit easier to make. Right, there's no editing involved, and it's pretty much just all off the dome, which is I would say pretty dope. And it's live stream, things like that. Right. I'm thinking about combining the channels together. I think about doing this idea, but I want to know if you guys think I should have 2 separate channels for 2. It's similar content, but I guess I could realistically attract 2 different audiences, but at the same time, majority of the people that'd be watching the Evolve to Inspire YouTube channel would probably be watching the Life of Champ podcast anyways. But yeah, so I already have this long form content, hour plus. If you want to watch me for an hour, there's plenty of content. 2? Okay. So let me give you my explanation though, right? So I wanted to put all types of forms of content in one channel. That's kind of what my idea was, right? So I have super long form content over an hour, which is this podcast. I would have 10 or 5 to 12 minute videos. Which if you can't watch a full podcast but you still want to watch a video, I would have plenty of those. And I would also have short form content, which is going to be in the form of podcast clips. If you don't want to watch the podcast, I have the shorter version of that as well. So I was thinking about doing that and having it all on this channel. So this would probably just be called Life of a Champ, and then I would have the Life of a Champ podcast, and then I would also have the Evolve to Inspire version of the Life of a Champ, which would just be self-development content for the most part, just working on every single endeavor within life and trying to make it, trying to build it up pretty much. So that was my idea. I want to know if you guys think I should have 2 or 1 and why. Q&A, but y'all answer the questions. Yes, sir. But yeah, I'm considering doing it. The reason why I had 2 in the first place was because I wanted kind of like a separate identity, which I have my podcast identity, and then I can have my Evolve to Inspire identity. But at the end of the day, right, eventually, when people think of me, they're gonna just be thinking of Champ, and Champ does both of those things anyway. So the personalities are eventually going to conflate anyways. So I guess kind of doesn't matter, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. I have 2 channels, and also I would have to grow 2 channels as well. It's kind of an inconvenience, right? If I get this channel to 1,000 subs and are able to monetize it, then I still have to build another channel with less content to get to that 1,000 subs. So yeah, it is a minor inconvenience, but it is an inconvenience nonetheless. So if you want to see all the content that I make on this channel, let me know. Or if you want to see all the content that I make on 2 different channels, let me know as well. Because if I put it on here, it's all going to be in one spot. All going to be all different forms of content. I'm hitting every single form of content. Short form, long form, extra long form, medium. I'm hitting them all. So, yeah. 4 people in here. Like I said, appreciate it for stopping by. Make sure you leave a comment, Q&A. First Q&A that I'll have on the channel right before I hit 50 podcasts, which is going to be something that I've definitely been looking forward to. Decided to have 1 Q&A. So if you're in here, appreciate it. If you haven't watched the previous hour that I've been doing the podcast, make sure you go and rewatch that as well. Make sure you go ahead and leave a like as well. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed as well. And yeah. That was kind of my question. Congrats on that. Yep. Appreciate that. You can go ahead and clap it up for me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hit 10,000 this month. I'm gonna try to hit 25,000 on this channel, or I'm gonna at least hit 20,000. That's my goal, to double it up. Go crazy, go stupid on the shorts, which I'm gonna have to go and check the review count right now, because I did post 2 of them. I posted 1. Like I said, if you're watching this right now, make sure you go ahead and like the shorts as well, because the shorts are I can get a lot. I've been getting a decent amount of traction on the shorts. So, man, no fucking way, dude. Nelk Boys, hey, their podcast is lit. If you haven't watched Nelk Boys podcast, dude, they're doing a podcast right now with Elon Musk. Fuck, dude. Elon on a podcast, dude. You have to be Joe Rogan level for that shit. Yeah, they had Andrew Tate. They had Andrew Tate and Elon Musk back to back podcast, bro. You literally peaked, bro. You peaked. You're done. You're not getting any better than that. If you have those 2 legends back to back, bro, you can't do better, bro. Who are you going to have that's better than that? They already had Trump. You can't get better than Andrew Tate, fucking Elon Musk, bro. You're not doing any better. You're not. I'm definitely gonna watch that podcast, but it is what it is. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna check the view count on the shorts. They're probably slacking. Yeah, they're big slacking, bro. Those, man. It's all good though. It's all good. They're gonna get the recognition that they deserve. That's all that matters. So, like I said, the question that I asked for the people: should I have 2 channels, 2 separate types of content, or should I have 1 channel with all the content that I make? Right now, I'm not a YouTuber, and not only am I not a YouTuber, I'm not just a podcaster. I create content. I'm a content creator. I create content, TikTok, YouTube, and different forms of types of content. So I'm a content creator. I don't have exactly 1 niche. This niche right here would be kind of the podcast, self development space, sports, pretty much dude shit for the most part, right? But yeah. What is this? Give me 1 second. I got sent a video. Oh my god. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this off in about 5 minutes. So if you guys have any last questions, make sure you go ahead and leave it in the comments. That shit looked like it hurt. Make sure you go ahead and follow the TikTok as well. I have almost 50 followers on TikTok. I almost have 700 likes on there as well. So a lot of content on there. If you like to see the clips of podcasts that you probably missed, make sure you go ahead and follow the TikTok, because I haven't posted any recent podcasts. I'm still like in the first 20 podcasts or 25 podcasts, something like that. So I'm getting to this content. But if you want to see what I had made previously, all the crazy shit that I said, That'll be on TikTok for damn sure. I post every single short clip on TikTok. I post only some on YouTube. So yeah, if you want to see all of them, make sure you go and follow the TikTok as well. Just it's the same thing, Life of a Champ podcast. Make sure you go and follow that. All right. And then as I'm about to wrap this up, before any questions come in, if there's any questions at all that are gonna come in, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys one piece of game. Just give me 1 second. Think about it real quick. I gave y'all a lot of game on this podcast, man. A lot on this one specifically. So, whew. Oh shit. Okay. All right. I'm gonna give you what's written down right here. I'm gonna read exactly what I wrote on the sticky note right here. Okay. I have a lot of sticky notes in my room. If you've been in my room, all of them have pretty much good shit on them. Okay. This one right here says this. Right now, you are building your private victories. You are putting in the work no one sees. Most of your progress being made, you would have to explain, but most wouldn't get it anyways. That's what it says. So the game that y'all can take from that, right? Put in the victories that no one sees. Take the wins that no one sees. I don't know. Probably Nate. I couldn't tell you. But we're going back to what I was saying, right? Make sure you're getting the wins that no one sees, right? You need to have a level of satisfaction for those wins that you can't explain to anyone. No one would be able to understand the vision. No one would be able to understand why you're doing what you're doing. No one's gonna fully understand that, right? So even if you get no recognition at all, make sure you're still patting yourself on the back and saying, you know what, hey, you're still making progress. Because if you're not doing that, you're slowly going down. You're slowly going, like I said, the downward spiral, that negative downward spiral. You're slowly going down that negative downward spiral, and you don't want to be doing that. Like I said, right now, most of the progress being made, no one will see, and no one will even understand. So, like I said, put in the work, and one of these days, you'll get the recognition that you 1,000% deserve. That is going to be my game for tonight. This was the Life of a Champ podcast, episode number 46, just the first Q&A. Just chopping it up, answering the questions from the supporters. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and end it off in about 2 minutes. But yeah, that's pretty much the podcast right there, fellas. If you have any last second questions, make sure you go ahead and put it in the comments. I'll give you all 2 minutes. Also, coming up for next week, I should have a podcast with a special guest, somebody that hasn't been on the podcast before. Ideally, that's what's going to happen. And then I should have another one on Tuesday with somebody else. I'm not too sure yet. But yeah, stay tuned in for that. And I might have another live stream on Saturday as well. I'm not too sure. If it is, it's probably going to be a later one, though. So stay tuned in for that maybe as well. And if you follow me on social media, I'll be posting it on there as well. So that'll be it. That's what the link will be as well. So if you know if I'm doing it or not, it'll be on there. Also, if you're watching this, make sure you have the post notifications turned on so you can see when I'm about to go live. Like I said, over here, we go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, or 7 p.m. Arizona time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So stay tuned for that as well. But yeah, all right. Anybody else got any questions? Also, like I said, if you're watching this and you stayed to this part, I appreciate you for watching this far. Make sure you go and leave a comment if you have any questions for me, as well as tell me your favorite part about the podcast. Leave a like as well. And other than that, like I said, I'm about to go ahead and end it off. I appreciate everyone for watching today. Finished the podcast with 4 people, so I appreciate every single one of you guys. Other than that, you guys have a good rest of your week. And remember, like I said, you're going to take your private victories. Make sure you stack your private victories. And make sure you get some satisfaction from those victories that no one will see. The progress is being made still. And one day, you will get the recognition that you deserve. Here's the thing. Most people won't get the vision, but as long as you get the vision and you can see, you'll be good. So, other than that, y'all have a good night, man.